Kama mimi natumia laptop yangu iko wapi? Iko Kasarani. Wakaenda Kasarani. Kasarani huko kufika huko wakapata bro wangu. Bro kuuliza warranty of arrest bla bla bla. Ndazo wazito wakavurugana. Wakaangalia wakachukua any electronics hivyo, wakachukua laptop, wakachukua laptop mbili ya bro na yangu Lenovo na HP. Wakachukua na hiyo hadi hiyo remote. Andazo uzito hii wanajaribu kumaanisha hivyo. Si kwa BNB mimi.
Bro saizi una credibility sasa, siwezi kuamini. Una credibility at all. Siwezi kuamini.
Inshallah.
Siwezi kuamini.
Osama, niko na swali Osama. Bana Osama, first of all, I'm really surprised that in wewe ndio host president. But now, my biggest question is this. So you mean president alikuwa hosted na mtu mwenye ametekwa nyara? Is that what you mean? That ulikuwa unaongea kama umetekwa nyara, president wanted you to be there to host this space by force? Or what do you mean?
Thank you. I really hope mazi kaka kuna msameelewa kitu nilikuwa jaribu kupush hapa ni wewe man. Uliona nikiongea nikawa nasoma kitu, si ndio?
Kwani why at gunpoint? Acha kutupima.
Hello.
Okay, first of all, there's a narrative we are trying to create that was space under duress, like we were forced to do this. Now, that makes the president called as a criminal. That makes him to be the biggest criminal in this country, because how do you take a nyara somebody to host a space for you? We now really need clear answer from you, someone. Just be straight to the point. Stop beating around the bush. Tuambie tu ni hii space ulishikwa ukaambia Osama do this and this, so that I also understand that the president, as much as he talked too much nonsense today, things that he has been saying every day, every morning, church, road, everything that has been saying, aliongea kama kuna mateka kama host wake. That's what I'm trying to also understand.
I plead the fifth.
Osama, acha mimi nikuulize. Umesema ati ulitoka wapi leo na hiyo Jambo Jet?
Mbasani kaka.
So hata huko sasa wewe Osama ujue ni mtu udu. Yaani wewe hata huko umepanga kuattend burial ya best yako. Ulisema uko na namba ya mama ya Rex. So mama ya Rex ulimshauri kwa wapi hiyo time ya mazishi?
Really na hebu nisho mali nilisema niko na namba yake, niambe tu kweli. Nisho tu mtumie screenshot zima nilisema. Hiyo time nitumie kila kitu hapo.
Nikutumie screenshot. Kuna pali nimekuona yeye hapo. Nilikuwa unasema sijui ati utaambia mama ya Rex sijui nini.
Exactly. Sikusema niko na namba yake na
hujaipata na mama ya Rex. Hujaipata na mama ya Rex.
City Mogruko huko.
Mulipata na mama ya Rex.
City Mogi. Niambie mimi hata sijadili kitu yote, angalia tu kila kitu. Mimi sijadili.
Osama wewe ndio ulisema sijui utaambia nini mama ya Rex. Meaning mlikuwa close na yeye.
Tulisema tunaambia mama mtoto wake nini, kwa vile sasa tuko maandamano, tunasema nini hapa? That's the point. Angalia hiyo titi kwa hapo.
Osama
angalia hiyo titi.
Nikatai, lakini uona filaje una host msee mwenye unajua ndiye aliua mama ya Rex, hata kama si ndiye alimuua directly. Wewe ndio unajua Ruto ndiye alipatiana hiyo order.
That's why nilimzushia. Ukiangalia ulisikia space, nilimzushia nikasema kuna watu wako matanga saizi. Na alafu hapo unatuuliza sura economics. Angalia hiyo space yangu nilimuuliza.
Unamuita Mr President hapo.
Exactly, nikamshow. Mr President, unaona ngasura economics na tuko matanga hapa.
Watu walikuwa wanasema ulikuwa na mute wakitaka kuongea ukweli.
Sasa mbona unageuza story tena? Mimi nikwambia niambia Mr President hapa.
Sio ukweli
hapa hivi na hivi. Mbona unaongea story ya economics na tuko matanga, watu wameuliwa? Na evidence iko hapa.
Sasa Osama, acha nikuulize. Of all the people, mbona wewe uende host hiyo space? Na wewe ndio ulikuwa na advocate watu waendelee, watu wasipoteze moyo. Wewe ndio ulikuwa unashinda ukisukuma watu. Kusema ukweli Osama, tunasema hiki kitu ina leader. But influence yako iko juu huku. Na ulikuwa unajua Kenya unasema watu wanasikia.
Shida ni moja ni, mnadhani mimi ni leader maze? Siko leader maze. Mimi nakuwa one of you maze. Mimi Mimi ni msee tunachochana wote tunatoka streets. Mimi sikwangi leader mazi. Mimi ni kama nyinyi bana. Difference tu ya mimi na nyinyi ni maybe following big tu peke yake. That's all. Mimi ni kama nyinyi tu kwa ground bana. Wasiwote wamenijuanga hapa na kwa tu mtu wa kawaida. Msiona mazeka god mazi, tafadhali bana. Mkiniona kwa streets mimi ni msee wa kawaida. Mimi si leader mazi, tafadhali. Na hapo ndo makosa iko bana. I'm not a leader.
Tushakubali wewe si leader. Jua hata huwezi kuwa leader Osama. Tunajua huwezi kuwa leader. Mimi niko na swali. Ulihost prezo ulikuwa request na majuko na ego. Unaona kuna tweet hapo na kiburi sana. Ukisema you guys wanted to host the president, hamkuwa mnataka our host. I did exactly that. Tweet ni kama ma politician wenye wanakuanga na kiburi. That tweet ilinibeba vibaya sana.
Gani yo?
Tweet you guys wanted to host the president, hamkuwa hauko mnataka wa host. I did exactly that. Yani uko kutuonyesha mimi ndio msee, mimi ndio host prezo. So you did all this for your ego.
Hapana, mbona nijaribu kusema ego with the president atusumbua. Si mmesema amtaki president wa host.
Osama, tunajua cloud inapatianga mtu kiburi. Tunajua cloud inapatianga mtu kiburi. Tumekuona ukikua hii Twitter. Tangu anze kutituma mambo za hip hop za kila kalama shaka tunao. Tumekuona ukigrow hii Twitter Osama. Cloud imekufanya ufure kiburi bwana. Imekufanya upate kiburi Osama. We know this is your ego speaking today bwana.
Si kuna cloud.
Mimi niko na hasira. Mimi niko na hasira mbaya sana na Otero. Hata ningekuwa karibu na ndio kutuanga sana. Mimi niko na hasira mbaya sana. Mtu mwingine anaongea hata na drop.
Sawa, Osama.
Ongea.
Osama, kuna mtu ameni DM hapa anasema he was at State House. He was called on Wednesday, then he was called at 7 a.m. on Friday, then he was called at 10 a.m., then he hosted space at 2. Ask him akatae. Unakubali unakataa?
Yeah, mama.
Sorry?
Space ilikuwa tu at 2 p.m.
Uliitwa you were called on Wednesday, and then he was called at 7 a.m. on Friday, then he was called at 10 a.m., then he hosted space at 2. Ask him akatai. So what do you have to say at that? Is that the sequence of how you were called? Because at first you told us venye space ilianguka ya president ulituambia Hussein ndiye alikupigia simu. First I even want to know what is the relationship between you and Hussein? Yeah? What is that ni wewe tu aliona all these big weeks zenye tuko nao hapa, ni wewe tu aliona? And then can you confirm that is the sequence of how you are called to put under duress juu umekataa kujibu hiyo to host the space?
First thing first, I'm not a big wig. Secondly, Hussein nimemjua leo by the way. Unaelewa? So
out of nowhere
unataka kusema umejua Hussein Mohamed leo?
Imagine that ni kweli by the hata mzamuuliza tu mimi nimjua leo by the way.
So unataka kuniambia Hussein out of nowhere alifanya tu pikipiki pongea akasema Osama is the one, akachukua namba yako akakupigia wewe?
But nani anajua Osama shwali?
Hiyo kiburi ndio naongea kuhusu. Hiyo kiburi yako mtu wangu. Hiyo kiburi.
Osama wacha ako na hasira. I just want to understand.
Nani anajua Osama?
Ni wewe tu aliona.
Kusema tu kweli wangechukua
Osama patia
acha mzee tu first thing first. Niwaambia wajaje sema
patia speaker anataka mic.
Yeah, first things first.
Osama mimi kitu naweza kuambia wewe unajua kwa nini umehold space. Wewe unajua hata kama unatudanganya ama unatuambia ukweli. Hakuna swali tunaweza kuuliza ati i-justify kila kitu. Ndio bado tunaona kuna vitu unatuficha na kuna vitu utuambii.
Ni ukweli.
So wewe ndio unajua kwa nini umeweka space. So wewe jibambe, kauli lipwa ni sawa.
Mimi sikulipa by the kani kulipa nimezima simu niko tu Nyamira hapo tu najenga gorofa manze. Imagine nipewe 20 million alafu niongee na nyinyi hapa. Ni kama mjui nikiwa na pesa na wana kiburi. But ni sawa tu. I really wish ungeona real life linakuanga. Mimi barada da 10. Mimi huringa but ni sawa tu. 20 mnasema 20 million nimepatiwa hapa. Mimi hata sikuwa naongelesha nyinyi Kiswahili. Na kwa msingine na kiburi mbaya sana by the way.
Ni sawa Osama. Ni sawa. But you know you're not answering our questions. But how come ni wewe uli?
Exactly. Uliza why Osama? Because I'm Osama.
Yes, first why Osama, then second why did you accept when you are clearly against it?
I wasn't against it. I just wanted to have a conversation on Twitter. That's the
you
point.
You are not against it, but
suddenly it backfired. I was very sad, man. I've been crying the whole night, Maze. But Mr. President, kuna question moja uliniuliza kitambo, nitakujibu baadaye. Hiyo nani najua. Kuna kitu uliuliza hapo, nitakujibu baadaye. Hii sitakuficha. I promise you that. Sawa?
It's okay, I'm here. I'm waiting.
Sawa. Kindly. Nick, President wacha ni Nick aongee.
Mbona kwa mocha alikuwa muted kwa space? As you adding mtu mwingine, nimepunguza hasira kidogo. Kwa mocho.
Aongee, acha kwambie. Najua sometimes universe inakuwa very unforgiving. Sasa time kwa mocha alikuwa anajaribu kuongea, nilikuwa nataka huyu jamaa aongee tu achome kabisa. Mimi nilikuwa nataka tu achome kabisa. Alafu unajua simu sometimes inanika system user interface. Unajua hiyo UI, unajua hiyo kitu. Nika wait. Kuna time nilifanya okay, ikienda hivyo. Nilikuwa nataka huyu aongee. Akasema tumemute, but I really wanted him to talk by the way. Kama sema kweli, mimi nilikuwa na kuadd, sema tu kweli, usidanganye mbele watu hapa.
Unanisikia sahi?
Kama ongea tu kweli. Nilikuwa na add wasi, ukweli wangu.
Unanisikia?
Kama ongea.
Nick, kama ambia Osama simsikie. Nisikie.
Hello.
Kuna mtu Osama unaongea? Kama amepotea.
Osama, mbona ulimute Jeanette? Lakini wase amuone Osama anatupima akili. Hakuna answer ametujibu. Ama nyinyi amewajibu kweli? Mr. President, kuna swali yote Osama amejibu kweli?
Anatupia tu story. Story tu anapeana.
From 5 amekuwa media training na Hussein sio mpaka sahi. That is the only explanation. Amekuwa na Itumbi mwenye alikuwa anakaskasa pa juzi na Hussein mpaka akapata media training. Ati why did you host the space? Exactly the same question. Exactly. Pia mimi najiuliza hiyo ni jibu gani unatuambia bro? Seriously. Hiyo ni jibu gani unatuambia? Ati exactly hata mimi nauliza nataka kujua. See, you are the one who hosted. You know why you hosted. Tuambie mbona? Exactly. Pia mimi nataka kujua. What is that? What the fuck is that, man? Wewe kwenda bana.
Na amepotea. Osama. Usipotele, usifinye okay tena space ipotee. Maswali inaingia DM. God in charge, nikupe mic. Si ni Osama kwa na mic. Kwa zako mambo ya ishe muraya. Tuambie tu bwana. And are you people hearing me ama najiongelesha hapa? Osama ampotea, ni kama amezima.
Ni kama anakochiwa tena Hussein hapo. Amepigiwa simu ambaye unachoma. Si amesema alikuwa at gunpoint. Ameambiwa unachoma bwana.
Anapewa instruction na state kwa hizi.
First the very first time tukianza tukimuuliza swali alisema alihostia alihostia hiyo space kwa keja yake, that's why kulikuwa na echo mpaka tukafanya demonstration. Kwa wale wenye wananiuza inbox afanye hiyo ya echo, hivyo ndio alituambia mara ya kwanza. Sasa yeye anatuambia it is at gunpoint, so which is which? You see, he's contradicting himself.
Huyu alikuwa
Either
state
he's
house tu
drunk.
pale kwa state house.
Yeah,
Amekuja
Kamal,
kubeba ufala tu hapo.
he's receiving.
Please don't bother showing at the Mandamano. Please don't bother coming to Sabasaba. We are planning for Sabasaba. We would be there. Everybody would be there because this struggle does not end. I don't dwell on who said what and where. It's none of my business. For me, it's only one thing to be achieved. I want to achieve a Kenya that works for that lady in the village, that she doesn't have to struggle. For that little kid. And anybody wants to know who the leader is that 12-year-old that was shot 8 times. He is the leader of this movement. The 49 people that were killed, the brother that was being buried today and he could not answer. You say that guy is your brother. He was being buried while the space was going on. What happened? That is the leader of this movement, and a million more who have been wounded. Those are the leaders. Anybody wants, for me, it's to change this system. For me, changing Ruto, putting another Ruto there, it does not help. For me, this system has to be dismantled. The system that put 8 bullets on a 12-year-old, that's the system that I'm fighting. And that's the system that we need changed. Thank you, guys. And thank you, Kimuzi. You will be vindicated. Time will tell, and time will vindict you. But in the meantime, keep at the course. Let's just all keep on the fight. Thank you.
Thank you. I see Momo, you have raised your hand up, then maybe Njeri next. Kindly.
Yeah. Hi, guys. This has been a good struggle. I'm in love with this struggle. And we need to do a lot. Yes, we have accomplished some few things. We should not feel like we have won. what we should feel is like we are not even quarterly done. We are still far away. We need to stop. We need to talk strategy. We need to talk and know how we are going to do demonstrations next time, because the strategy that they used to dismantle our protests was using guns to come and infiltrate us, throwing stones at police, justifying the police to use tear gas against us. Because I was there, I took a lot of tear gas. Gunshots were in the air all the time. Even when we were, even when on that Tuesday when we went into Parliament, the air was hot. But now we need to sit back and re-strategize. You see, for example, in Egypt, they overthrew a president who was a sitting president for over 30 years. A 30-year sitting president was overthrown in an 18-day protest. No. Sisi, we've only protested for how long? Not that long. But if Egypt did it, and mind you, the strategy that the Egyptian president used was the same strategy or similar, somewhat similar to what Ruto is doing. They also had guns, but people had to be brave. You create barricades, you move as a group. You can either move forward by holding hands or using chains. You can chain ourselves, moving forward, pole pole, step by step, tuingie parliament, tunatoka hapo, tunaingia state house. Seriously. When we saw that some bloggers were telling us not to go to State House, do you know what it means? If we marched to State House peacefully, it means that the government, or rather not the government, the KDF would have stepped in immediately. That is what Ruto knows. We can also ask ourselves, mbona Ruto hajaenda anywhere in the past 3 to 4 weeks? Niju anajua the moment he steps out of this country, kwenda kufanya shughuli zake as he normally does. The moment he does that and people decide to march and get into parliament or get into State House on a serious note, his presidency is done. Because when people do that, KDF takes over, and KDF listens to the wananchi. They do not listen to any politician, as long as the KDF is led by a sane individual. We should not fear anything. This is our country. Mimi sitaki nitoke hapa niende kufanyia Mwarabu kazi. Like what the fuck bana? Mimi nimesoma, nimemaliza campus, I'm an engineer by the way. Nime practice engineering for about 4-5 years hapo, and I can see how things really are kwa ground. Things are not good. Our fellow people, our fellow citizens are graduating every single day. Wanaenda wapi? Where are they going? How are we going to sit down and listen to a psychopathic liar who has been lying to us since 2014? They've been 2013 March when they got into power with Uhuru Kenyatta. They've been lying day in, day out, day in, day out. It's just now that Kenyans are realizing that the parliament, or rather the National Assembly, has been doing us bad. Yani, the National Assembly is the enemy of the Kenyan people. Literally, every bill that they've been passing since 2013 needs to be looked at again. They've passed so many bills that are hurting us, that are pressing down on the common mananchi. Right now, if you come up with an idea on AI, you will find that there's a policy, or there's a law that has been passed that is going to limit your advancement. If you look at some of the bills in Finance Bill year 2024, imagine there's a section that was saying a foreigner can come in Kenya, buy treasury bonds, and pay no tax, but a citizen, when a citizen buys treasury bonds, infrastructure bonds, infrastructure bonds have no tax as long as, because it's an infrastructure bond. Infrastructure bonds take 10 years. Infrastructure bond, if for right now the finance bill hasn't passed, so if you go to buy an infrastructure bond right now, you're going to get your principal after 10 years and your interest. every single year. Now, the finance bill said that a foreigner can come in, invest in treasury bonds, not pay tax, but a citizen or a resident, rather, can buy infrastructure bond and still pay tax. Ruto is not our friend. Ruto is our enemy. Not our enemy. He himself made himself our enemy. Because he's doing everything that is in line with the globalist agenda. And what is the globalist agenda? The globalist agenda is to make us slaves of everything. You know, as a third world country citizen, we normally think that Americans live really well. I'd advise some of you, if you that's if you haven't done, do some what do you call it? Geopolitics research. I'm telling you, Kenya is the best.
Mumo, please kindly, watu ni wengi speakers, they are really requesting, let's keep it at 3 minutes maximum, please.
Okay. My point is this. In this struggle, we are going to have traitors. In this space right here, right now, I know there are people who have been sent to listen to us. They are listening, they're recording, and I don't care. What you cannot kill is an idea. You can kill me, Mumo, today. You can kill anyone else you want to kill. So you can shut my mouth, but you'll never silence an idea. An idea can start today, but it will eventually materialize. One day it will materialize. What I want is a Kenya that is progressive, a Kenya that I can be proud of, or a Kenya that anyone else can be proud of. Not a Kenya that is a slave to colonialists, to neocolonialism. I want a Kenya that I can be proud of. And that Kenya I can only be proud of that Kenya if we have people that make sense. Currently, there's no one in government to me that makes sense. Only maybe 1-2 guys. But other than that, mimi sioni kitu ingine. Na because leo tumeona betrayal ya mtu kama Osama Otero. He betrayed us. There's no point of listening to that individual ever again. Ashachoma picture and that's it. After discussing his name here is wasting our time. We need to know what to do. Sunday ni Sabasaba. Monday ni MOH. Tuesday to expect, is it Tuesday or Wednesday? To expect IBC constituted already. After it is constituted, what are we going to do next? Which MPs are we going to impeach? After that, which cabinet secretaries, which governors do we want to step down? I've heard there was a guy previously. He talked a lot about. He pointed out that there is a website that is going to be released showing all the corrupt dealings of Ruto. We want to know everything. We want to know who will step down, and they have to step down. Ikitu ishaanza, ikiisha we are fucked. Ishaanza na ifai ipoteze mwendo wake. Inafai isonge na tusonge nayo mpaka mwisho. Plus, just an addition. If we want Ruto to step down, because I do, and his cronies to step down, how are we going to ensure that we are going to have a peaceful transition? Because that is also a very important factor. We might push and push and push and he steps down, but how are we going to handle a power vacuum? Who is going to take over? How are we going to handle it? Which policies need to be adjusted so that we can have a proper takeover from our own selection? That's all. Thank you.
Hi guys, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Go ahead.
I just wanted to reiterate on what Kimuzi said about civic education. As much as we will be going to the street, I was also in the streets, I would also want us to focus so much on the civic education because people perish because of ignorance. The biggest area that we are lacking is ignorance. So I'd want us to focus on civic education from the grassroots level, from the level of an MCA, for people to understand who is an MCA, what do they do, the senator, the women rep, the governors, because even in the streets, if you ask somebody, what do you expect of your area MCA, of your MP? Most people really don't have an idea. I know there are some NGOs that are tasked with doing that. But now that the TL has ears and most people are now relying on X to get the information, I'd like for us to focus so much on civic education, what is expected in the ministries. And also I'd like to say, I know we are saying we don't have any leaders, but in everything, there's always starters and trailblazers. So if you're a trailblazer or a starter, don't fear to bring out any idea or to start anything. What I'd like to ask us is to rally behind these people, even if they are small tweaks. And you're a big trip and you've seen that a small trip is suggesting something, because this is not about a personality or anything. We're all working to have a good Kenya. We should rally behind them, retweet, repost it so that we give them an ear. For example, like now people in Kabete have started a structure of recalling their MPs once their IBC is ready. We should be there, like giving a voice to that, because the idea is having a work in Kenya. You should be able to, when you're in Bungoma, it's working for you regardless of your tribe. When you're in Kiambu, when you're in Kisumu, when you're in Machakos. So I'd like us, even as we focus on the aggressive part of protesting for the civic education, let's put more emphasis on that. If you can commit, everyone who is here, that every day you're going to take a sector of governance and just educate people on what to expect, how it should run. Also, you can share information on governments and ideas that are working in other countries, because two things you need. One, you need to educate people why whatever we have is not working, why it's not working, how it should be done, and give an example, because it's one thing to call out a problem and another thing to direct people to give a solution. So for me, I support the demonstration, but I also support a lot in dealing with the ignorance and supporting any tweet. As you're scouting around the TL, just support. Let's support each other. Let's give a voice both online and in the maandamano. So if we can only commit the people who are trailblazers, like even if we ask every person, like, can you record a bit of yourself teaching your family, your grandparents, your parents about anything to do with governance or the MC or the MP? Because the issue, people know there's a problem, but then again, what is the solution? But in details, they can't really tell. Our parents, they can't really tell. So I'd like us to emphasize on the civic education at all levels. Yeah, thanks. That's what I wanted to say.
Hello, hi everyone. Morning to you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
All right, great, thanks. I'm trying to be briefer on this one. So mine is just to share my 2 cents on what
Jelani, I don't want to interrupt. I apologize, whoever is speaking, Patrick.
No,
Jelani, you called me long time ago, even before Anna. Watu wamekuja tu wakinikanyaga kwenye kichwa wakipita. But let me yield my mic. I just wanted to put it out there.
You can speak right after Patrick. I'm so sorry.
Right.
I'm sorry. It's my fault. Pole.
All right, apologies for that, okay? All right, now, just to be brief on this, whatever you guys have achieved is quite a lot. And I think you need to pat yourselves on the back and don't just look at it from one side. Always look at the glasses being half full and not half empty. Now, what my thoughts are a bit simpler. On this process, there are things that we can achieve and there are things that may not be really achievable, okay? Or they might be achievable at a cost. So what am I trying to push for? I'm trying to suggest that our anger is not only at the president, it's also at the members of parliament. So the MPs are the ones who are letting us down, because actually they're the ones who are fleecing the country. So my suggestion is quite simple. We should get them out of office. Now, how can you do that? Ideally, people are talking about a recall vote. Now, a recall may not be really practical because there is no active law at the moment that provides for it. The Constitution in itself, under Article 104, suggests that Parliament should enact laws to support the recall clause. Now, Parliament passed a law in that's the Elections Act 2011, that had a clause, I think it was Article 35 or something, that was supposed to provide for the procedure to recall an MP. But this was rendered inconsistent with the Constitution, and it was nullified in 2016 by the Constitution Court. There's an appeal by, I think, Yashpal Gai and Katiba Kenya. So the procedure that is remaining, which is still in the Constitution, in my suggestion would be to push the MPs to resign. However you achieve that, that is for you guys to use your imagination. But I'm thinking, if they could be made to resign, it's a very effective way, because all they need to do is write a letter to be submitted to the Speaker of Parliament, and then their resignation takes effect. Now, why am I suggesting Parliament? Because if you can win Parliament, a by-election will be called. If you can win at least 240 seats, then you have 2/3 majority of the Parliament. Whoever gets into that office should be people we know they have nothing, like their character is straight and clean, they are not tainted. Then the same people are the same people, if necessary, you can push for an impeachment motion, because once you have 2/3 of Parliament, you can proceed with an impeachment. Now, a lot of other suggestions may be there, but I'm thinking for now, this one would be there, and it's quite practical and it's quite achievable. Another thing that I'm also looking at is we need, as much as we are under the notion that we want to be leaderless, we need to be alive to the fact that our constitution as currently written needs leadership. So one way or another, at some point, we will need to start having a conversation about who are going to be the leaders that we can work with. I know this is a conversation that no one wants to talk about, and it might sound divisive, but I'm just playing the devil's advocate here, and I have to say something that needs to be addressed. So my suggestion on this for now, I would say, taking state house demonstrations and all that. And besides, one other thing is, I think our greatest achievement was the demonstrations and the fact that it was more like a blitzkrieg strategy, whereby Parliament was taken and no one had really planned it. But right now, going back to the streets might be counterproductive, because a lot of people, a lot of goons have been paid to try and make that effort look like it targets the whole population. So it may not really work to our advantage. So another alternative would be to try and be strategic in a different manner. I think that's all I had to say for now, and maybe someone else can pick up. Thank you.
Thank you, Patrick. You're right. I think Miguna had said that our best bet was to ensure that Parliament was dissolved, and he was basically suggesting we start afresh. I don't remember the legal framework he laid out. If someone does, then they can speak. But you're right, that could be an easier way than the recalls. Let's have Rosemary, because you've been waiting for so long. I apologize for making you wait. After Rosemary, let's have Gatimo, and then after Gatimo, let's have Evans. Please keep it 3 minutes. Tafadhali.
I'll be very brief, and thank you so much, Jelani. Much love. And you know why I'm saying that? For all you guys are doing, I really salute you, meaning Generation Z. Sisi baby boomers, Generation X, na nini, we are also...
Hapana, Rosemary, relax, naweza ongea. Jumi, siongei vitu zenye zina, siongei kitu yenye.
No, just give the lady the chance, please. Let's be respectful of each other.
Acha malizie. Na tafadhali iteni Osama akuje hapa. Juu nataka ajibu. Iteni Osama sahi.
Tulia malize mo, please.
Can I proceed?
Yeah, proceed.
Okay, I was just saying about what, giving you all kudos for doing a great job. No, unajua, pia hii mambo ya just to interrupt each other because you have speaker rights, I think it's also rude. Unajua, among ourselves, we must also learn to respect each other and also give each other valid criticism. Jelani, I wanted to point out something. Niliona mlikuwa mnaingiliana na kina Maj na watu wengine, and then you came back and apologized. I am telling you, I think you had not gotten all the information. Mtu akija ki apologize kwa makosa ambayo amefanya, I think everybody, any human being is ready to forgive. So having said that, Kimuzi and Jelani, thank you for this space. As you may know, I have also been hosting spaces for a long time. Nyinyi mliokuwa bado wadogo. I mean, I've been on these spaces for the last 5 years. But be that as it may, you've done us proud and we salute you. That is point number 1. Point number 2, Kimuzi, pia mimi nilikuwa na vita na Miguna. Sijui kama mlikuwa kule kwenye ile space ya Luo Nation na kina Hillary na kina nani. Nilikuja nikakatwa midway, nazungumza, nilijipata halo na nikaambiwa kuwa mic yangu imedrop. Mic yangu imedrop. There is no problem with internet where I am. I'm in New York. Hakuna. It was a deliberate move. And what I even hoped that Miguna would even do as the guest, ni yeye kuja kusema, acha huyo mama amalize whatever he was saying. And let me repeat what I was saying. I was saying kuwa, vile Miguna alikuwa treated ile kukandamizwa na kutolewa and being boarded mpaka Canada was wrong. I said even for my own enemy, that was wrong. Na nikawa nasema, lakini na yeye mwenye pia amesema kuwa there are people who are saying he's opportunistic. Of course he is. Alikuwa wapi? Yeye sasa ndiye ameji self-appoint kiongozi kuwa anapeana, we have 5 points I've put on my handle, to form an a transitional government, tufanye. He is not the custodian of these ideas. Wacha niwaambie. Transitional governments have been done elsewhere. I have worked in Liberia. I was there in 2003 during LN1 and LN2. And before that, there was a transitional government for 2 years led by a man called, take his name down, Charles Jude Bryant. Ambaye he was a businessman. Na walisema wale ambao wanaingia transitional government of Liberia watakuwa huko for 2 years na they cannot run, na wao it is to organize, to build trust, confidence of the people and organize election. Nimeona Miguna amesuggest kuwa transitional government ipewe 90 days. 90 days unaweza kufanya nini? Come on. All of us have been on this ground and we know how some of these things even operate at the international level. So let me just pack that, about what was said on that forum. Na nimeona watu ambao wamekuja hapa kujijenga. Some of us have been there. All we do, I have been waiting. Actually, I started listening baada ya ile ya president. Nilikuja hapa kwa Kimuzi na kule kwa Afrocentric. I have been listening quietly, taking notes on what is being said. Manake matamshi ambayo mnasema, every idea that has been said here, it's a valid point. And kudos to each one of you. Whether umekasirika na Otero, whether you are venting, you have every right to say what you have to say, because you know why? You love your country. Because you know why? Kuna vijana kama kina Rex, kina Evans, who will never walk again. They will never be with us. So we need to come from a very angry place until we calm ourselves down and think logically, what do we do next? Nilikuwa kule kwenye ile space nyingine, nikainua mkono. Of course, mnajua kuna watu ambao walikuwa identified kuzungumza na some of us could not be given the mic. Be that as it may, points zangu ambazo nimeweka hapa, I will not repeat what has been said. Mambo ya civic education, kuna, a young lady who talked about that. I will not touch on that because the point that she brought up, ya civic education, let us run with it. I think those points are valid. The point that I've been bringing all along, na mimi nawakumbusha jameni. Nyinyi youth nyinyi, when I was on this space in 2022 in, early, nikiwaomba mpige kura, I know you may say that I'm sour grapes, lakini wacha pia mimi kama mama ni vent. Mlisema hapana, there is somebody who told me in my face, akanambia auntie, mimi siku hiyo ni holiday, nitachukua blanketi nijifinike. Siendi, manake viongozi ni wale. Look at what we got ourselves. So, youth nyinyi critical group ambao hamkupiga kura, jipangeni. Anybody who is over 18, jipange sasa. But we need to come up with immediate strategy. We need to come up with medium-term strategy, and we need to come up with long-term strategy. Sisi tukiwa kwenye diaspora, we are organizing na tume-organize. Mliona Ruto aki-address Congress. There was a Kenyan and a couple of Kenyans who wrote letters to the speaker. This is how it works here. So all I'm saying ni kwamba msitudharau hata tukiwa kwenye diaspora. You can go and look up my name if you have capability, ama muulizeni Hanifa. Mtaona jina langu pale kwenye mchanga. Manake all I've been doing is sharing that link na encourage watu waeke pale, and Hanifa should even be appointed CS wa health. Manake she has done better than whoever is there. Honestly. Hanifa, my love goes out to you. Na mchanga huwezi kuwaibia. Manake receipts zitatoka, and every nickel and penny, every shilling will be accounted for. So, mimi nataka kuambia vijana, tafadhalini jipange kwa 2027. Lakini we have work ahead of us ambayo tutaifanya almost immediately. I am going to go on a bitter road na kusema Raila handed over leadership to Ruto. Why do I say that? Mulisema huyu mzee ni experience anayo. Na mnasema kuwa Ruto alipewa leadership and the West. Where was Raila not to lobby? We know. West, East are the ones who are controlling Europe, are the ones who wanaambia jump na mnauliza how high. Why couldn't they also play that game na kutupatia leader ambaye anaweza kuempathize na anaweza kusaidia watu na kuwasikiza, and not run away with some of the things that really make us very angry. Corruption, largesse, opulence, saya ya milioni 20, showing off this. Gachagua alituambia kuwa ni government of shareholders. And I'll quote President Obama. The first term alikuwa voted with 56%. Please finalize. I'm landing. Obama alituambia kuwa first term he was voted by 56%. He thanked the 56% na akasema wale hawakumpigia kura, he will work day and night to make sure kuwa he wins them over. Is our president trying to do that kwa wale ambao hawakumpigia kura? Because he's not the president of only those walimpigia kura. He is a president of all Kenyans. Nikimalizia, leo kweli nimeona divide and rule. So I'll just go through the points as you know. Divide and rule. Watu walikuwa selected on that Twitter space, and it did that's exactly what happened. What I need to urge you ni kwamba haya matamshi yote that we have, who is following up? Mumesema you are leaderless, you are fearless and whatever, but who is following up on some of these points in terms of action? Akiwa amesema kuwa anavunja IBC ama anatengeza IBC, who is involved in that? Who is partaking in that? We need to follow up on some of those things. I need to land here. Now, one parting shot, Jelani, ni kwamba we need to, all of us need to probably set up an anonymous website ambapo we can collect, harness all this data, all these good ideas, na mtaniambia, itakuwa hacked. Haiwezi kuwa hacked ikiwa kwenye cloud. Mimi ni generation whatever, but I know about the cloud because of where I live. So I'm quite computer savvy. I thank you very much, and I hand over the mic. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I guess I'll pick up from where she left. I think, it's good to have documentation of our conversation here for future reference. But also, I'll just make a few suggestions because I'm also tired and many people have spoken. I think going forward, it will be sort of beneficial for us to kind of take on the task of fact-checking each and every government ministry and department. And I think I like what Dennis Ombachi is actually doing. He's actually holding the CS for sports accountable. And he keeps on responding to everything that he's posting. And I think that's a good thing that we should follow up on. But I also think it would be good for us to also have a sort of clear principles and values that defines this leaderless movement, so that we have some goals and ethos to avoid the scenarios that we've experienced today. Because as many of you know, the reality is that as we were busy fighting for justice and good governance, some of us were swayed by the enemy and they left the scene. But I have to say this, however, anyone who was bought off for their personal gain is just part and parcel of the brutality of this KK regime. And so those who feel betrayed, we should allow them to just experience that emotion of this betrayal, because it's normal to feel that way. But moving forward, I would like us to just stay focused on the fight for justice and good governance in our country. And one thing I just want to reiterate that has already been mentioned is on educating one another. And I would like to be even more specific. Currently, if you think of the high school students, those who are in Form 3 and Form 4, in 2027, there is a high possibility that those students will be of age to vote. And I think that is also a good area that some of us could focus on doing civic education. If you have that platform to talk to students in different schools, you could as well do that. And so for me, it's just an encouragement. I won't speak much. For me, it's just an encouragement for us to keep on forging ahead, to not look back, but keep on, fighting for justice and good governance in our country. And I'm confident and I'm optimistic that change is going to come. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm Evans, currently based in Europe, specifically in Poland. And for me, I'm a millennial. And, I've talked much about what drove me out of the country to where I am currently. I'm going to be quick and fast, and I'm coming in with proposals. One, we have to, one thing that this government or the people who are trying to persuade us or to make it feel like everything is okay, one thing that I've learned is being able to know our next step. We are very predictable. And when Miguna was brought in to help us forge the way forge a way forward, he was on his main tactic was on one thing: protest, and go do that. First of all, the idea of bringing in Muguna to be advising the whole movement really messed up. It messed us up a big deal. That one is, I'm going to talk about it from the bottom part of my heart. People could have counter opinions to that, but it was a very wrong move, because Meguna came in and he gave the government some afforded to feed on. And you see, it was after that they started talking about this thing as being financed. It has got a political inclination. It has got a leadership. And Meguna, I also felt like he was not really giving people time.
No, that's not true. That's not true. They had already started saying that. That's not true.
It's not true, but it's in accordance to how you are seeing it. I'm also seeing it. I'm also talking about how I was seeing it. So that happened. Then one thing, we have to stop being predictable. The government really knows our next move, and that's very very bad. Two is that we also need to shun gullibility. We are very gullible, and simple statements and tags and hashtags that are being driven around really make us change our what we feel about this government easily. And that's what these people have known, that most of us are not having mature minds to be able to know what is right and what is wrong. And just as what I was trying to say is what I've just talked about, Meguna. Okay, you need to look at this thing with you have to look at the coin, the two sides of the coin, to be able to know that this was the narrative that was being tried to be created. So we are very gullible. And these are seasoned politicians. Someone like Ruto has been in power for 30 years, we know that. And very many other people that he could be having as his own advisors. They know. And they know how weak our minds are. We are still very young people. So they're able to sway us with hashtags and well-choreographed scripts are meant to change our minds very fast. So that's something that we also need to be steadfast on. Let us stop being gullible. Then, lastly, this war, I think it started on the way it started on. It was done digitally, like we were able to run away with the technology in order to start it, and it is still within those technological spaces that we are still fighting it. So we've realized that within those technological spaces, we are able to vent out and talk about very many things and air out our grievances and reach out to the masses. So on the ground, like doing it out in the field, we realized that it's a bit difficult and dangerous to some extent. So if you're to push it much still on in the space as we are doing it, then we have to make it more vibrant. One thing that I was thinking about, which probably could borrow a leaf from what Bigona was saying, that I never agree with him, was the fact that we can never be sued for libel or defamation if we decide to talk to power. And how can we do this? There is the issue of continuous reinforcement. What are we trying to reinforce here? We are trying to reinforce here that Ruto is a very corrupt person and is not someone who has got our interest at heart, and is someone who is a murderer. You have seen that. Is someone who is a pathological liar, and we will do everything possible to perpetuate this kind of harms to us. So how then do I see that we can do it? One, someone can. I'm not very good in poster making or things like that. Someone can decide to design posters. Probably these posters can be designed time to time, and then those posters shared into certain platforms to where people can reach them, and then we can make these posters our profile pictures, such that if this guy makes any post on his timeline, we can then reply onto this and discredit him, but then using the same profile pictures. So that will be able. I think that one can be able to reach very many people, and we are going to keep the spirit burning. Then lastly, now that these guys have, we are planning for 7th, the Sabasaba Day, and we know, as we talk about it here, sometimes I feel like we open too much to what these people should be hearing, because they are now here with us and they're listening. I'm very sure they're listening. There's burning midnight candles, midnight oil to listen to us and talk about us and know our strategies. The moment you're going to put everything bare, if you're going to war and already you've put on your tools of war in the public, how do you expect to win against your enemy? So we're talking too much about what we need to do. Let us avoid being predictable. And if there's something that we intend to do, which is going to get them pants down, let us do it. I liked how we did the first demonstrations. The first demonstration was well done. No one expected what happened. No one expected that people could turn out and do it. Look at what happened on Sunday. People, we had got people just getting up and marching to go and to the hospitals. Like it was, they were even asking themselves, where are these things planned? But if you're going to talk about them every year, like tomorrow, let's do this tomorrow, we are going to riot, let us go and attack State House, let us go and do this. I think some of these things we just need to do them behind the sheet, like not putting everything bare into the public.
Please finalize.
Yeah, I'm finalizing. I'm touching down. Let's try to also have our own ways of doing these things incognito, without making everything known to them. Thank you very much.
Yeah, let me go. So, I mean, there wasn't a time when man was not, like, all throughout history, we've always been there. So it's part of life. Whatever happened. And it's good people vent and all of that. I mean, it's part of life. It's part of exerting the anger, and I mean it's explainable because people didn't expect it according to the plans and all of that. So I mean, I've sent Jelani and Kimunzi something that I think we should be able to do in order to counter whatever these guys are saying. And for me, as I can see on the Jumbotron, Hannah Adley posted something, and that there was 14 unidentified people. So these are headshots, watu walipigwa, walifanyagwa vichwa zikapasuka. I mean, people didn't have the IDs, all of these traumatizing things and all of that. But I mean, in the face of struggle, there's the ups and there's the downs. So right now we're at the down, and we need to look up. I mean, you just can't keep on getting hit and you keep on looking down. So if at all there is to be how can I say it? If at all there is to be another protest like the one we saw on the other time, then it needs to be better managed, better implemented, in that even if the government is listening, we'll still go around them. I mean, tuko watu wengi hapa ndani, so it's very much possible for us to go around them. And one thing the constitution says, I mean, apart from the sovereignty of the people, chapter 1, people forget that, I'll just read it. The preamble says that we, the people of Kenya, we acknowledge the supremacy of God, and we honor those who heroically struggled to bring freedom and justice to our land. We are proud of our ethnic, cultural, and religious diversity, and determined to live in peace and unity as one indivisible sovereign nation. We are respectful of the environment, which is our heritage, and determined to sustain it for the benefit of our future generations. We are committed to nurturing and protecting the well-being of the individual, the family, communities, and the nation. In recognizing these aspirations for all Kenyans, for a government based on the essential value of human rights, equality, freedom, democracy, social justice, and the rule of law, we are exercising our sovereign and inalienable right to determine the form of governance of our country, and having participated fully in making of this constitution, we adopt and enact and give this constitution to ourselves and to our future generation. God bless Kenya. I mean, come on. You just read that and you can feel the pull of the country to you, to your strings. So, I mean, we should be better agitating towards having better services, having better life, having not to really stress about whatever's going to happen tomorrow or whatever. But we know that something good is going to come out of it, because, I mean, this is Constitution of Kenya 2010, all this while from 1960, from 1890, before these guys came, people were here before them, and they used to live peaceably, you could say. I mean, apart from the various clashes and all of that, but people used to live peacefully. So why can't we do it right now? I mean, still the same area of landmass, and you can see as well other countries are looking at us, looking at the way we are doing our things. So basically, it's just the same thing that's going on and on and on. So we just need to better prepare ourselves, better manage the way we set our goals, and yeah, everything will be fine. The Miguna thing was okay because he said 90 days. That's what the constitution says. If you impeach the president, you get.
Please land.
Yeah, I'm landing right now. If you impeach the president, you get 60 to 90 days to hold another fresh election. So if at all it happens, yeah, it happens. We impeach him. You go to the state house. The KDF let you in, impeach him, and 60 days, 90 days, another election. You vote in your guy, you put in whoever you want to, and the country continues. You can't be held hostage in your own country.
Yeah, can I talk now?
Come on, man. This guy's been talking for too long, man. Can I talk?
Hello.
Hello.
So,
Let's just 1 second, please.
Sorry.
So let's have a lady go, and then we can have someone else. So Anne, you can go, please. At this point, I'm
Jelani,
wait,
one thing more. If someone is talking, I think it's imprudent or it's rude to say I want to talk and somebody is talking. Just wait for someone to finish or their cause to tell him to or her to finish, then they continue because everyone want to raise his or her own opinion, right?
Yeah. And then I'm going to now really keep time because mnaongea sana and it's just like you're not managing yourself. So ikifika 3 minutes mimi nakuzimia mic. That's what we are going to do. So let's have an karaoke going and then we say 3 minutes strictly.
Okay. Thank you for giving me this opportunity. I'm Karuki from Philadelphia. Just being away doesn't mean that I don't know what's happening. Actually, I was in Kenya for the election in Kiambu. I think some of you might have read the work that I was doing in Kiambu during elections, to make sure that Ruto doesn't get elected. And I told people it's somebody I know and it's going to be dangerous, but that's neither here or there. First, I want to commend you guys for a wonderful job. It reminds me of those days when we were as active as you, but this journey has taken too long. I know you are feeling sad or frustrated or disappointed because of betrayal, but that happens. So don't let you hold back. It's one person, there'll be more, but you have to keep going. You don't just stop because that's what they like you to do. So my short-term strategy, because when we are talking about 2027 elections, that's along with they'll continue, the MPs will continue getting paid all these hefty salaries. And one thing I really like to commend, you saved Kenya from a dictatorship. The way the MPs were behaving, because these people have stolen so much money, it was going to turn into a dictatorship. You heard them, I said this morning in one of the spaces, not the Ruto one, I was in the parallel one. And I said, the way the MPs have started testing the waters to extend the term limits, they were going to get the 2/3. The MPs have become greedy. And then again, he has something on each one of them. Like all the CSs, they have court cases, they are murderers, they are all that. So they are blackmailed. They were put there deliberately with all their dirt so that he can tell them, I can activate your case. And I'm sure he doesn't even get to that stage because they know him and they are scared. So nobody really tells him anything because they are so scared. So what I'm saying, I think the most important thing is to start the recall. The recall doesn't take effect until 2 years later, which is August, in 2 months. But I know a lot of young people didn't take, they are not voters. But what you can do with your energy, you can mobilize for those signatures. Because I'm not saying it's going to succeed, but even if 1 or 2 succeeds, the MPs will get scared. And the idea is to keep the MPs so busy, being so scared because they're so scared of losing their positions that they cannot focus on legislation. In any case, we know they don't pass good legislation. They are so busy fighting for survival. So I think and if you want to disable a general, you take his soldiers away. So my advice is that it's a proposal. I don't advise. Let's say I know I'm a lawyer by profession, but it's a proposal. Disable the general by weakening him through his soldiers. So everybody should work towards recalling the MPs. It doesn't even have to be because they voted yes in the finance bill. The idea that all these cabinet people were able to pass, the vetting. How did that happen? And they pass it. So they have a lot of scenes, you can get them on. And I know some of the people who were behind the Tito impeachment. They were youth actually in Kikuyu. I know the people behind it, although they had to go through the MCA. So I'm saying let's focus on sending the legislators home. That Ruto is a big elephant. Fighting him, you're going to use so much energy. What you do, you cripple him. That's the only way you can bring. When he realizes he can't use those people to do the things or to pass the law to do things, then the idea is to cripple him because you can't really get rid of him. It's not easy. and you can't wait until 27. And you want him if he reaches 2027, you want him to be in a very weak position. You don't want to be in a position of strength. So let's start by focusing on these MPs, disable him so there's no legislation that can pass. So even when they are going to approve the ABC, they are scared, So do it the way you did, the way people start recalling them. So there'll
Time
be
is
no
up,
parliament.
Anne.
Thank you. I agree. And thank you so much for the
Thank you,
opportunity.
Anne. Thank you, Anne.
Thank you so much. And very proud of you guys. Hang in there.
Let's have Godfrey going next, and then let's have Godfrey going next, and then we have Karigo. Please, 3 minutes, sir.
Asante, I'll be very brief and concise. Thank you so much to the interveners that have gone ahead to add voice and reason to what our young people have started back home. I am particularly proud. I'm actually based in Senegal, in Dakar, in Senegal, and if probably all of you remember, something quite spectacular happened in Senegal probably a couple of months ago, where young people stood up against a tyrannical regime, in actually in all sense of it, saw to it that the president, who was seeking a third mandate, lost his credibility and lost his rhythm the last year completely. And it was unbelievable because just like home, we thought he has the power, he has the machinery. But what the Senegalese people did, the young ones, just like some of our colleagues have spoken earlier on civic importance of civic education, they spoke to their old folks. They did it very, very quietly. I do not know. I know Senegalese are louder people probably than us, but they did this particular one very quietly. And at the ballot, it was a clear swoop. If you followed it closely, and what I've seen start at home, there are all these practical examples that have happened on revolutions. I don't want to call it a revolution, but I think really a proper change for the better. We've seen what has happened in Egypt. We can pick a few strategies that have happened during the Arab Spring. We can come back closer here in Africa and pick what the Senegalese did. And, one of that will give and it will lead us home. The biggest problem in our country is we have people legislating for you and I who are in that house for all the wrong reasons. The people that we have in our parliaments don't qualify to be in that parliament. They're there to protect their loot. Actually, they've spent a lot of money to be elected. And the first thing they want to think of is recouping that money. And the only way they do that is theft. Probably most of us on this call earn way better than these MPs, maybe even 2 times, 3 times more. But we can't afford to show the level of opulence and carelessness they are showing to the poor people who have nothing to eat. And what we've seen in Kenya with our MPs, we really need to clip it. And the way to clip it is really making this job of a member of parliament unattractive.
Time is up, Godfrey.
Oh, really? Can I just add one
Yeah,
minute?
go ahead.
Just a minute.
Time
I'll
is
be
up.
very brief. A member of parliament in Senegal earns around 273,000 Kenya shillings plus 40,000 for house rent and is given 300 liters of fuel, which is about another 40,000. It's really a job of a servant and they still pay taxes. This is the same thing we need to replicate from our country. And I have a lot of things that I probably wanted to say, but for the respect of the colleagues on this call, I'll stop here. But I think when we're asking for these irreducible minimums, it has to be that we have to make these jobs servant-oriented and attractive for every Tom, Dick, and Harry. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We still have so many people trying to speak. I'll just highlight a few of the things that have been said so that you don't repeat them. We've already spoken about starting the recalling of MPs. We've already spoken about making public service not attractive. We've already spoken about the next steps, which is continuing with our protests and focusing on one thing that we can push to the very end. So if you pick up the mic, please don't. And we've also spoken about focusing and not giving Osama any more attention. So if you're going to pick the mic, please just don't repeat as if it were already to Meskia 100 times. Just tell us something unique, if possible. Karigo, you can go next.
Yeah, I just want to say one thing.
Are you there?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Please go ahead.
So I just want to quote one thing that Martin Luther King Jr. wrote. And he said, freedom is never given voluntarily by the oppressor. It must be demanded by the oppressed. So we need to really individually feel how oppressed we are. And as long as you're oppressed, you will want a better tomorrow because the Constitution has favored us individually. Liweli walo. And the truth is that it's okay for people to misbehave and to behave badly. However, it's our individual choice not to allow the misbehavior to deter us from the goal that we want to achieve. And I keep saying this, and I'll continue saying this. This generation, the Gen Zs, the millennials, they are an educated, oppressed generation. And it's none like it is. Guys, we are not governed by one person. Okay, fuck you. You did it. Okay, sawa. Okay, now you move forward. We move forward. There's something Ombachi said as I finish. There's something Dennis Ombachi said. He said, and I may paraphrase based on my understanding, we all have a goal. We are running the race, but there are sometimes people who get off. They fall off. But it doesn't mean that we should be confused because, guys, we are very oppressed. We're oppressed. Every goddamn time we wake up in the morning, you're oppressed. Anytime you're sick, you're oppressed. Anytime you get into the supermarket, you're oppressed. Anytime you need to pay for anything, you're oppressed. And the fucked up shit is that we are educated. So, kindly, don't lose focus. Okay? Negodie, tutirago agua, as Jelani would say. Tutirago agua. There's no retreat, there's no surrender, and bro, there's no amount of money that you'll be paid to help you get out of oppression. It's your civic right. And the Constitution is there for a fucking reason. Good night, guys.
Thank you, Karigo. Let's have Jeremy going next. Jeremy, are you there?
Jelani, just a little bit before you go on, Jeremy. Kindly, just one, that is only 10 seconds. Let's do this kindly from, yeah, we can hear you, but just 10 seconds. Let's do this from using our mother tongue, because you know we are all tribeless. Kindly, please, I'm just begging you on that. Kindly.
Anyway, so hello everyone. Now I see we
Jeremy, you can go ahead. We can barely hear you. Jeremy,
it's very important that we deal with where this corruption is. So do you guys know that each MP is given 120 million Kenya shillings and each women rep is given 30 million each year that goes to their pockets? There are 290 MPs and 47 women reps, and if you do the math, This is 40 billion Kenya shillings per year, all going to their pockets. And now you may ask how. For those that don't know about CDF, it stands for Constituency Development Fund. Now, this thing is something that was there before the referendum in 2010 when there was no devolution. MPs, being the ground people at the time, they were given money for their constituencies. The referendum scrapped it off because the governors were now the ones to be the ground people who will be given the funds for the whole country. Now, for the whole county, pardon me. Now listen to this. Immediately after the referendum, MPs immediately passed it in Parliament that the CDF should be returned. And now why? Because they know it just goes to their pockets. These are the things we should be fighting. Okia Mtata immediately went to the High Court to fight this thing, and it was actually declared illegal by the High Court. Illegal, not legal. So what did the government do to keep it? They renamed it to NGCDF, which you can actually check up right now. If you just type NGCDF, you'll find a website on it just to cover all this corruption. NG standing for national government. So they made it look like a national government project being applied through the MPs. But at the end of the day, it is still just going to the MPs and women reps' pockets. So we really must fight this. And mind you, this is a thing that the MPs just fight for. And it is what they used to hold our president, Ruto, and many and all our previous presidents and future presidents, if we don't fight it, hostage. Because the president can't dare to touch this CDF fund because he knows the MPs have the power to actually vote him out. So this is just one example. And if we start pushing for things like saying remove CDF instead of just fight corruption, we will actually move forward. Especially because governors are already being given 400 billion Kenya shillings for the counties, and then you want to give MPs and women reps 120 million for what? And women reps 30 million for what? They're not using this money for any development in their constituencies. They're just going straight to their pockets. And this CDF has been declared illegal by the High Court, and the national government just changed it so that they can keep it for the MPs to continue their corruption and the women reps to continue their corruption. And it's something we just must fight. Yeah, that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeremy. Let's have a lady go next. Debbie, your hand has been up for a while.
Hi, Jelani, hi, Kimozi, hi, and everyone else joining this space. I'm excited. Instead of being disappointed, I'm excited because we are at a stage where we are seeing people who are betrayers get off, and so the train is able to move on. That's the most important thing in this movement. Remember, it's called a movement. We were not expecting to go everywhere we are headed with everyone else, but the fact that some people have gotten off gives the rest of the people the courage, the determination, the joy, the motivation to keep moving. And in the words of Juliani's song, Utawala, Juliani says, niko njaa hata siwezi karanga, uhehae, shagala bagala, niko tayari kulipa gharama, sitasimama mavu ya kitawala. Ufisadi, ubinafsi, ukabila, kuuza sura, hawataki kuuza sera. Undugu ni kufahana, sitasimama maovu ya kitawala. Julian in his song is a rendition of keep moving forward. What we've seen today is an hijack in our movement. It is just a hiccup, a simple hiccup. If you are in this space and you truly believe in the future of Kenya, that is a hiccup. Does a hiccup stop you from eating? No. You keep eating, you keep sipping your, you keep drinking your water until you are full. There is nothing that has been implemented. The finance bill, we don't know if it's going to come into the finance bill. We don't know if it's going to turn into a law because there are a lot of rendition of how lawyers, you need to define that to us. Specific things surrounding our public institutions, our laws, our constitution have not been defined. The work ahead is still here. Let's focus. If you have a journey that you're going to, if you take a road from Nairobi to Mombasa, I'm from Kisumu, so if you take a journey from Kisumu, Nairobi to Kisumu, kuna watu watashuka different places. Kuna watu watashuka Kaplong, kuna watu watashuka wapi, kuna watu watashuka Narok, kuna watu watashuka wapi. Does not mean that the bus has to turn around and go back to Nairobi. No. So I am very, very proud of you guys who are in this space and everyone who believes in the in a possibility of Kenyans having dignity, respect, rule of law, and continuous advocacy for good governance. That is it. It does not matter who gets off the stage. We have clear minds. For those of us who have lived out of the country, we've seen systems can work. It takes people, it takes work, it takes advocacy, it takes continuous fight. We are not expecting this to end in 2 weeks, so we are not still expecting it to end in 2 weeks. We are expecting it to go on. If you are in this space and you believe that Kenya deserves good things, that we deserve good hospitals, good schools, public systems, you have a choice, you have a determination, you have the motivation to keep moving forward. And I think that is what you need right now. So I'm not going to dwell on Osama. Fuck Osama. I've been on this space since 2012, and Jilani, you've been here since 2010. Karigo has been here. We've seen fights come and go. Okay, we've seen Mboya left, KPLC campaign dropped. Life moved forward. We still have people fighting for to get better rates for KPLC today. So excuse us if we're saying keep moving forward. We've seen distractors too many times in our journey of advocacy for good governance that we are not going to be stopped by just a few people who don't have enough dignity to remember that they have children or they want children in the same country. Only 1% of Kenyans can move out of Kenya. That means 99% of Kenya are stuck in Kenya. So if you have to find for motivation to keep moving forward, remember, you go to these embassies, they are closing their borders. Canada has strict restrictions. I'm in Canada, so strict restrictions on immigrations. It means your visa will be denied before it's acknowledged. You go to Australia, they're closing their borders. You go to Germany, they're closing their borders. When Ruto comes here and lies to us and tells us that their jobs is advocating a country, no one is going to hire you on the basis of being a Kenyan. That's the fact. You have to prove yourself. And for most of them, they don't trust our education. You have to go through system of education, again, in that country, paying fees that you've already paid in Kenya. So forget the fight about moving abroad. Abroad is not as fancy as everyone thinks it is. That's the fact. The loneliness, no one talks about the social aspect of abroad. Us who are abroad, we really want to come back home. That's the fact. We want system to work back home. If today's systems were working, I would pack my bag fucking tomorrow and come. That's the fact. There's nothing fancy about being there. So when we are advocating and we are sponsoring these campaigns, it has nothing to do with us. We are families. For me, all my family members, my brothers, I come from a family of 5 children and parents. My grandpa, everyone is home. I'm the only one out of the country. You think I enjoy being here? No. So we don't push this. It's not just a hashtag for some of us. It is actually putting our heart, our hopes, our determination on the line. We've seen how campaigns come and go. People like Otero have been supporting, I don't know, I can't define. I don't want to talk about him because it will divert what I'm trying to portray to Kenyans. My goal of picking this mic is to remind you of why you stood, why you woke up that day to go and advocate on the street. My goal is to remind you that the flag, or the flag that we keep fighting for, our national anthem, is a reminder enough for you to go out there and fight. I would wish to join you on the street. I would have loved to join you on the street. I want to join you on the street, but I can't in person. So I will do everything possible within my power to support you. But for those people who are there, don't put your life in harm's way. And I know the police is horrible, but if there is a chance for you to talk out, if you can use your skills, use it. I love the techies, what you've done with this revolution. Keep working, keep going. I support anything that you're doing, whether it's using AI tools to advance our courses, I support it. Graphic designers, I love you. Anyone, anything, I love you, okay? If you are a low student, you've graduated, use those skills. It does not matter. Today, the world is changing. You might use it today, and then tomorrow you are in another online space and you have to use it. Use it.
Please finalize, Debbie. Please.
Yes, I am. Let me land. My point is this. It has been a wonderful fight. It is still a wonderful fight. Don't give up. The future is ahead. We keep walking. That's the course. Ruto must go. He must disband the cabinet. He must dissolve parliament. He must make changes to the key things that we're fighting about. Corruption must end. Let's walk forward. Otama is 0.0001% of this particular movement. So the rest of us, we are here. We support you. We love you. We'll keep you here. We will keep fighting for you. And as long as it stands that we are Kenyans, we will support you. Thank you.
Thank you, Debbie. Thank you, Debbie. Let's have Michael going next. After Michael, let's have Jerry Wamwea. So Michael, then Jerry Wamwea, please, in that order. Michael, are you there?
Oh, hang on. Yeah, hi. Can you hear me? Hello?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah, hi. Yeah, I want to say thank you to Kimuzi and Jelani. Yes. I have been following. This is the first time I'm actually speaking. I've actually never been an activist, and I have to admit, Kimuzi should be arrested for making me an activist. Saying that, I really have followed this course, and I'm also very saddened how it, how it went down, and it's quite sad, but the thing is, I don't want to give up. And I don't let's forget about names and what. The thing is, even I'm not based in Kenya. I think Kimuzi knows. We speak. I'm based in London, but I'm a Kenyan, and I love Kenya. Kenya is my country, and my point is this: the cause is we didn't have a leader, so people can give up. That's okay. We'll continue. And the thing is, at the end of the day, we are fighting for a cause. It's not about Michael or it's about Kimuzi or about whatever. We have to continue with it. And so, and for me, actually, I'm going to make a point. People have spoken so much. Guess what? Nobody has said what I'm going to say. On these spaces, we speak so much. For Kenya, let me tell you, at the end of the day, we're going to have elections. For this Jay-Z, unless we will have to form a party, period. And that party will go against Ruto's party. And I'm surprised. We have professors talking. Nobody else. We'll have to have our own party. And I'm very happy. I'm the first person to say yes. And that's the only way. Then we will sponsor our candidates. And I'm not going to waste a lot of time because that's all me I want to say. We can finance for our own party. Period. And thank you for allowing me to speak. And you guys, God bless you.
Thank you, Michael. Jerry? Jerry, we cannot hear you. Can you unmute yourself?
Shall I jump in if she's not speaking?
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. What I just wanted to say is I think we've lost a plot kidogo too, because as a leaders group, as we say we are, what we should be thinking about is making our way forward, not speaking about the same things over and over again. And one way I think about is civil disobedience. And since one way was going to the streets, which has been infiltrated and it's not working at the moment, why don't we try boycotting something like treasury bills that let's hit them where it hurts? Because the only way the government works is the money they get from us. So that is what we should be thinking about. Not who betrayed who, what happened. I was on the space when the president was there, had all his lies. And at the end of the day, all he's telling us is sweet nothings. So what we should be thinking about is hitting them where it hurts. And that is civil disobedience. If we can do sit-ins, because they can't beat us, they can't tear gas us when we're sitting down. If we can boycott the treasury bills, if we can figure out the government institutions that we can actually boycott. That is the way to go. I'm not going to speak much. That was my point.
Can anyone hear me? Yeah, you can go on. Can you?
Okay, thank you. So me naweza sema like the tree of liberty is watered by blood, and huyu jamaa ashamwaga damu kwa street. Ile interview ya ilifanyika State House on Sunday, months karibu ajipeana akisema the police know what we have told them, but akairekebisha, sijui kama mlirealize hivyo. So I don't think that we can do. How many protests are we going to do until 2027? Every finance day, this guy will always put these punitive laws and punitive taxes. So will we always protest until 2027? No, we cannot wait until 2027. So I think the least that we should be targeting for in this movement, he dissolves parliament. That's the least. So the thing should be Ruto must go, and or he dissolves parliament, so that we can at least, his cronies will be voted out, although he will not want to do that. So, and you can also hear people out here saying strategy, let us change the strategy. No, there is no strategy to change. Strategy should remain, Ruto must go. If you change and start diverting, if we manage to remove him, who will take over? That's not yours to worry now. So, like, you have a problem here right now, but you're thinking about another one that you'll get tomorrow. Solve this one here today. People are saying, oh, online activism. The previous speaker talked about boycotting treasury bills. For me, I think the moment that we get out of the streets, we are done for. People will just start disappearing. Everybody has a fear for that. And someone is talking about how protests are not working. Protests are working, and they should work. We should even change the thing. It should be now Monday, Wednesday, Friday, so that people only work on Tuesday and Thursday only, and have 4 days of rest.
Kindly wind up. Umeona vile watu walikuwa wanakuja tu 2 minutes, 3 minutes, it has been so okay. Kindly.
Yeah, I'm winding up. So another thing, maybe Jamaa, as we all have seen, that he's not working for Kenya. Everything that was about Mwananchi centric, he has removed it. Basic things like health, education, anasema hizi hire teachers and doctors, like, it's not for us. Acha nimalizie hapo.
Kindly Dr. Anna go on, then next Quincy, then next Abu. Dr. Anna? Dr. Anna?
Anna Mike.
Okay, Malki.
Hi, Kimuzi. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can.
Okay, let me tell you, I've been waiting for a while, so you'll receive some stray fuck yous from me. I'm sorry for that, Kimuzi. I love you so much, but receive them. And the reason why I have been waiting for so long, it's 3 a.m., is just to say I'm so disappointed in Osama. We are not going back to him, but I have to say it in Itoke kwa roho. Osama Fuck him. All the facts that he remained for the government, I'm saving them for Osama. He can go to hell and just die, ferment and die. Osama had the audacity of just going on live just when Kimuzi was still doing this space to say, but me, I was not the leader of this revolution. You are not. We all agree. But Osama needs to remember that some of us have been so idle on Twitter. I joined in 2010 and I've been so idle. I came back to this revolution because of guys like Kimuzi and Osama and because of the influence they gave me. So he cannot even have the respect to even be accountable that some of us joined this movement because of hearing about people like him and people like Kimuzi and people like Jelani, people like Boniface Mwangi. So fuck you, Osama. Fuck you. You have made me mwenye nakwanga hapa nimeshika dini na nimejifanya hapa mzuri. You have made me look like a demon. You have made me like an embarrassment. Secondly, I wanted to say, you guys, the protests were infiltrated, as we know. So I wanted us to do like more research on various forms of activism that we can do. I'm down on anything. Yeah, I will join anything. And lastly, boycotting these politicians' businesses and burning their places down, I can tell you it's not going to work. What we can try, and this is my suggestion, what we can try is like, for example, where I work. I won't say where I work just for my safety and security, but where I work, there are a lot of tenderpreneurs.